Time now for NFL Power Rankings presented by StubHub, the leading ticket marketplace for buying and selling tickets online. With the top of the rankings, we're represented by both conferences coming in, starting with the Cardinals, sitting at number one of the rankings with Kyler Murray putting on a show for Arizona. The Bills right behind them with the Chargers as well, in that top five, rounding it out there. But things got a little interesting. The Bills, of course, moved up to 2. Packers down 1. The Rams up 2. As I mentioned, the Chargers as well. But back to the Cardinals. Despite not having Cliff Kingsbury on the sideline, the Cardinals not missing a beat at all. Getting it done against the Browns on the road. Murray improving each week with all his weapons intact there. Threw for 4 touchdown passes in that 37-14 romping of the Browns there. Arizona remains the lone undefeated team, their best start since 1974. So after that one, of course, the Cardinals still undefeated 6-0. The Packers, Rams, and Bucks and Cowboys in the top 5, giving us a little NFC feel at the top of Pete Prisco's NFL Power Rankings this week. Speaking of the man himself, time to bring in Pete Prisco to break that all down. And all NFC at the top, Pete. Outside the Cardinals, what did you see from the Pack, Rams, Bucks, and Cowboys to bump them up this week?
Well, I think the Bills losing dropped them down a little bit, which is why the Packers moved up. And when you look at the NFC, it is going to be an unbelievable playoff race. The way we look at it right now, any one of those teams at the top can win the whole thing. And people sit here and say, do you think the Cardinals are in that mix with the other teams? Yes, and they proved it on Sunday. Going to Cleveland, and yeah, it's a banged up Cleveland team, but winning the way they did without their head coach, without their starting center, without their best pass rusher, they won in dominant fashion, and that speaks volumes about who they are as a football team. The Cardinals are legitimate, but the top of that group, I mean, the Packers, the Rams, the Bucks, and look, the Rams have lost to the Cardinals. The Bucks lost to the Bucks lost to the Rams. So when you go on and on, they're going to eat each other up if they continue to play each other. We know the NFC West is going to be a tough division.
The top 5, of course, belong to the NFC, but at 6, you got the Ravens, who hung 34 in the Chargers. They did bump up 2 spots, but what kind of kept them out of that top 5 for you?
Well, I just think the other teams right now are better. Let's go back a week ago, and if they don't block a field goal, they lose that game to the Colts. So, there are still problems with the Ravens, but I have to give them a ton of credit, and the reason being they've had so many injuries, so many issues. I mean, they lost their running backs. They're running the old guys. I half expected them to bring Jamal Lewis back to run the football. That's how old those guys are. And so I think this is one of those teams that has navigated through the tough part of their season, and they're only going to get better. I expect them to move up. They have a big game with the Bengals this week. Yeah. Yes, I said a big game with the Bengals this week. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I'm impressed with the way John Harbaugh has handled this team through a ton of adversity, and they're only going to get better.
Yeah, 5-1 on the seasons. You mentioned here the rushing attack. It doesn't matter who's been the backfield behind Lamar Jackson. You look at the basement of your rankings at 32. That's where the lines are. Still winless. After the game, though, head coach Dan Campbell calling out his QB and Jared Goff and his performance. I want you to take a listen to this.
I will say this. I still don't feel like we can accurately judge him one way or another. I don't feel that way yet. Now, I will say this. I feel like he needs to step up more than he has.
Pete, of course, a lot has gone wrong with the Lions this season. Dan Campbell, of course, wanting more for his QB, calling out Jared Goff. Is he right with that? Can you put it all on your QB's shoulders here?
No, but that's an easy target, and I think he's looking to Jared Goff to rally the troops a little bit. I mean, look around at who Jared Goff is throwing to. They have no weapons. It's a bad offense on the outside. When you look at who they have, it's, rookie wide receiver is the #1 target right now, and that's not a good thing. So it's easy to call out the quarterback. He hasn't played that badly. I mean, he wasn't great the other day, but he hasn't played that badly. It's just he doesn't have a lot of help around him. So I think this is one of those things where you call out the quarterback, you bring him into the room, and you say, hey, I did that for the benefit of the other guys. It's really not just you. So I don't think he's serious about it. I think this is one step to try and motivate that team going forward.
As you can see, Sean McVay is the only coach that's helped them win games here. Real quick, did they go 0-17?
And by the way, you know where they play this week, right? They play the Rams. And when they play the Rams, It's Matt Stafford against his former team, and it's Jared Goff against his former team. Do they go to 0? What'd you say? Are they going to go 0-17?
0-17, yeah.
They have a shot.
All right, we'll see how
they have a shot. You know, the feistiness of the first couple of weeks is kind of worn off, and then you set into reality of they're not very good right now. They do not have a lot of talent.
Oh boy, we'll see how that pans out. Of course, 0-17 might be heading that way. Pete Prisco, as always, breaking it down. Appreciate your time. Don't forget the All Things Covered, always keeping you in tap as well. Patrick Peterson and Bryant McFadden talking to Jared Cook on playing with Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Justin Herbert, as well as the Chargers' chances in 2021. As more as they lock in the rest of the season. Download and give the guys a follow.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.